Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Oh my gosh, my gosh, my gosh, my gosh. Oh, I am so happy that I saved the example for another episode because it just finished. It just came to a conclusion literally after I recorded the previous episode. Let's get petty. Let's get really, really, really petty. Okay. This guy, his name is Justin. And okay, it's on Hinge. And he like showed up on my you're interested or whatever. And it's kind of like Bumble. It's like you can, well, it's not really. It's like they show up in a folder and it's like if more than one person was interested in you before, like since you last checked on the app, unless you pay money, I think, you can only see one of them. And you have to you have to like or not like that person before you move on to be able to see the next person. So if you see like a profile and you're like, oh, I really want to see what's up with that one, but then do you got one that's kind of blocking you, yeah, you got to take care of business. So, okay, with Justin, it was kind of, let's just say, how do I start this? We were not compatible. And I like, okay, this is why I did the previous episode. Reading is fundamental. Reading Rainbow is a needed show because so many people, especially millennials, Generation X and millennials, both X and Y, yeah, they don't want to read. They're lazy. And then the internet just made it worse, especially when we created TikTok and all of these short type of thing. Like, and that's one reason, like, I'm not a short, like, I'll watch them and I've seen how I'm able to, like, gain a lot of resources from some of them, or at least a sampling to go find the full video. But at the same time, like yes, I love a full on documentary and things like that. I love full on story times. I don't want the short version, I want the details. I want to know what you wore, even. I want to know the atmosphere. I want to know what you ordered on your plate on that terrible awful date and things. You know how many people have been on terrible dates at Chili's and Applebee's? Do you know, like, I pick out very odd patterns. And I remember with one of my college classes, it's like that I was teaching, when it came to marketing and stuff, I kept like getting like these dating nightmare type of videos and stuff. And so I created, like, it was around Valentine's Day, so I thought it was perfect, where my students had to create a commercial and it had to have like that either dating reality show spin or some kind of dating spin to it, and it had to, and so I showed them this one and I'm like, listen to where these people keep saying they go on their dates. And it was so funny because they were just like Applebee's, 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 Chili's, Applebee's, Chili's, Chili's, Applebee's, TGI Fridays, Applebee's. And it was just like the students were cracking up because, like, when the next person or the next face would show up, they'd be like, Applebee's, Chili's, I think it's gonna be TGI Fridays. And it was a good show. It was amazing. But and they did a great job on that project too. So, but oh, this guy that I just finished up with, because like last year, men kept saying, you women need to be nicer. You need to explain to us why we're not a match. You need to do A, B, and all this other red pill garbage. Because the thing is, you guys don't want to know. You don't want to know. Because once a woman tells you, you're going to gaslight her. You're going to try to put her down and tear her down. You're going to try to insult her. because that's exactly what Justin kept trying to do with me. And I was, it was kind of amusing because I'm just like, okay, this is how I do it. This is exactly how I do it. When I look at a profile and I see some things where we don't have in common and we're not compatible, I tell them, well, you seem really cool and interesting, but I see we're not compatible for dating. But we can chat, we can get to know each other as friends. It's harder to find friends than it is dating. So if you're interested, but if not, I totally understand and you can block me. It's like sometimes that long, sometimes shorter. I summarize it or whatever. But in each one, I make sure I tell them we are not compatible for dating. Man, this guy, he could not stand that. He couldn't stand that. But the funny thing is, a lot of these men think we're pick me's. They think like the guy is just gonna be like, tell me why. And they're gonna just get the woman to be like, never mind, okay, let's go to a movie. Let's date. Okay, I wanna give you a chance. No, I'm not that girl. And it's really funny, a lot of these men think we're pick me's or they and I've realized I've never been a pick me. If you guys have been listening to my episodes, you can tell I've never been a pick me. My self esteem should have led me to be a pick me, but remember, Mr. Lockakey, I was driving away from him and he jumped in front of my car and put a weapon to his wrist. And I did see the fluid drip from his wrist, and that's why I pulled over and everything because I didn't want to be the reason why he, you know, went to hell early. Yeah, I don't think like I mean if you go into heaven, congratulations. I don't know how he did it, but congratulations. But it is what it is. Yeah. Because when you keep threatening to punch holes in the walls if I don't jump when you say jump, yeah, and especially while I'm working on my grad school projects and trying to get my second master's, but you get really mad when you see that I'm probably going to finish when I'm over halfway over my whole like master's program. So that's when you try to force me out of the house because you're trying to make me fail classes. And it's really funny because I know this because especially once he drank too much or consumed his special candy, this is when he told everything. And he would tell his friends how he was literally trying to make me fail because he didn't want me to succeed with that and how he was going to feel threatened and how he only told me that he was proud of me when we first met was because he thought he knew that would make me be his friend because I had no one else that was encouraging me, no one else that had my back. So he knew if he could at least get to me in that point. And that's when I realized how awful and terrible so many men are because men will only pretend they have your back in order to try to go to bed with you, to try to force you to be in relationships, even though they know themselves that they are too toxic. But back to Justin. Back to Justin. So the first couple of days were cool. It was fine. He was like, how are you? I was like, one of the days I think I was like, blah, but I'm keeping it moving. I'm keeping it going. And then another day, and he was like, yeah, how are you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good today, whatever. But then, I think it was day three. Mm. Was the second day? I think it was the second. I think it was second or third day. I forgot. But then all of a sudden, I'm gonna have some of the screenshots up. But he finally blocked because I was like, when is this man gonna block me? I'm like, we are not compatible. So yeah, end of the story is he did block me finally because I was waiting. I was like, oh, because I thought overnight I was like, okay, by tomorrow morning he will be gone. And instead, he sent a voice. Okay, I'm getting ahead. I'm getting ahead. But okay, so so he decides to start asking me, why do you say we're not compatible? One of them was the politics. So I told him politics. And so then he was like, okay, so what are your political beliefs? They're different than yours. Because, and the thing is, I don't know exactly what his political beliefs are, but then when you say other, it's like, and the other options are conservative and liberal, a lot of people who put other are normally more conservative, but they're trying to make sure they're able to sleep with more women. So as long as they don't put conservative, they feel like, well, they have a higher chance of getting liberal women and or more women than if they chose one side or the other. And like I said, like in the last episode, if you have not political or moderate or any of that, like, no, we're not compatible. And I swipe left unless I feel like we could still have some kind of like just casual conversation and things like that. I'm not gonna bother. I'm good. I'm through. Like, no. And so it's like he started asking me what my political beliefs are. I'm like, okay, well, you're other, so I don't even know what yours are. And so it's like, so then I said a quick summary about progressive, liberal, and Democrat, things like that or whatever. And but then I said liberal. He heard me say liberal. But then he heard me say progressive. He was like, "Oh, well, you're progressive, so you're other too." I said liberal too. I said I'm a mixture of a liberal and progressive and Democrat. Yeah, I'm a mixture, but I am liberal. I'm liberal, very liberal. Okay, okay. And if I see other, I wonder, are you with our LGBTQ community? How do you feel about the disabled community? How do you feel about how Republicans are taking so much money away from our veterans and other demographics? And now we see that they don't care if we starve. Mm. But anyways, I didn't tell him all that, but it's just really funny how men tell me politics have nothing to do with dating. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because especially once I get my businesses together and get my money together, whatever, I'm the type of woman, I want a man who, like, maybe, like, if we see, like, the government's doing a situation like this, I want to be able to look at my man, and my man knows that I want to go to the grocery store and buy a lot of canned goods and stuff. Like, we can go to all of the end of the aisles or try to find all the food that is on discount and on sale and fill out like two or three, even maybe grocery carts, and then go to shelters and stuff and drop the food off so that we can help feed as many people as we can. But it's like, I want a man who all I have to do is look at him and he already knows what I'm thinking, and he knows I want to give back and volunteer and stuff. That's the kind of man I want. But it's really funny how many conservative Christian men tell me that volunteering is a waste of time, is a joke, and if you're not making money, then it's stupid. Do you know how many Christian men have told me this? But then people are surprised that a lot of these churches didn't pass the test. And I keep telling you guys, pay attention, look around, and listen. Because it's like, I love that she did this test, but at the same time, I didn't need this test. I knew. It's like, for the most part, I've been living life, and I've been paying attention. I've been taking notes, and I think that's one strength of a lot of us, or certain writers, because so some of these writers, I'm like, what the crap are you doing? But we pay attention. We pay very much attention. And I had a really good idea this morning with my Grim Reaper novel. I am so excited. It's like I'm drafting up that, like, tonight in my notebooks. I might end up like doing a very, very rough sketch of the step by steps of what's gonna happen with her, with one of the characters, but it's a her, yeah. But anyway, so he's trying to, like, I kind of see he keeps trying to gaslight me. Every other message, I don't like that. I don't agree. And he even said, like, in his profile, he said, let's have a conversation on one of these three topics. And one of them was politics. One of them was politics. Okay, the crazy thing, like, he had, let's talk about one of these subjects, and it was politics was one. Oh, like, you don't even know how annoying it is. Because while he's trying to prove to me that I'm crazy and that I'm not suitable for dating because I'm not going to give him a chance, and how I am being unrealistic if I'm shutting him out. And part of me is just like, okay, you are proving why women just swipe left and ignore you. why we avoid you, why we want nothing to do with some of you guys. Because when we do try to just be your friend and we tell you we're not compatible, you won't accept that. Your ego is so big or toxic or manipulative or whatever, narcissistic, that you just can't handle a woman telling you how things are gonna be. You can't handle a woman letting you know that she's turning you down, that the you can't handle a woman telling you what the relationship is going to be, what the playbook's going to be. It's like he kept telling me that I should not restrict him right off bat. That I, like, you know what? Yeah, I took some screenshots. I didn't take screenshots of everything. And normally when it's like well, I won't say everything about what I know with the Hinge app or whatever. But yeah, it's like I wasn't able to get all. It was like I didn't want all of the screenshots. I just wanted a few to prove my point. But this guy, who this guy is interesting because okay, let me find okay, because he says ask me anything about cooking, new movies, and politics. But then he also says something that contradicts. Okay, I am being very chill, and talking politics is by definition, he said, or first he made a mistake and he said, and talking politics is by definition polite. This is early in the situation. And I did voice messages because I'm like, I don't got time for this. So, and I was, because I told him, I was like, oh, most people say it's not. And I'm like, I just want to make sure we're on the same playing field. But see, I was communicating and I was making sure that I knew that if we were on the same page. And also on his page, because that's why I wasn't sure if he meant it was polite or not, because on his profile, again, one of the subjects he said we could talk about our politics. But now that he knows that we're not compatible because of politics, he had the nerve to say, because, okay, I am being very chill. And talking politics is by definition polite this early in the situation. And so I let him know. I was like, do you mean polite or not polite? And within my voice messages, whatever. And then he writes, not. Okay, so if it's not polite, why would you offer that as a conversation starter within your profile to begin with? Why would you do that? And if I tell you, like, the reason we are talking about it is because you asked me, why are we not compatible? And one of the reasons we are not compatible is our politics. There are a couple other reasons, but, like, especially with mature men, once I tell them politics, they can handle that. They're okay with that because they're just like, okay, yeah, politics, that's, yeah, okay. But immature men like this guy, oh, he wasn't having it. He was like, because even he tried to call me a train wreck. He was like, so you're just a train wreck. And oh, he called me something else. But it's because I would not go out with him. And I think he just hated the fact that I knew that we are not compatible from the proof. Because that was another thing that got on his nerves. How can you tell that we're not compatible based off your dating profile? That's what because do you know how many men, especially conservative men, do you know how many conservative men get mad at me or yell at me or call me out my name because they're like, you're stupid, how can you tell we're not compatible based off of our profile? That's what the profiles are for. That's why you're supposed to write something. That's why you're supposed to represent yourself. That's what you're supposed to show yourself. It's like I'm a sapiosexual. I just don't go based off of looks. I'm not blind now. I'm not blind, but I just don't go based off of looks. It's like I want somebody who stimulates my mind. Cause stimulating my mind, it's like, yeah, that can, But anyway, it's like Justin was I mean, and the crazy thing is, I told him like 4 or 5 times, I hope you find your princess or queen. I really hope you find your princess or queen. Even though we're not a match, I hope you find your princess or queen. I mean, I kept saying it. And I even told him, if you want to block me, if you don't want to talk to me as a friend, because whatever, because I was like, while you talk to me, you can talk, like, I want you to find your love. It's like, I mean, yeah, you can talk to more than one person at a time on the app, and it's like, we're not going to date, so I really don't, like, do what you do. But I've also noticed that's a pattern, especially with with, like, actually, yeah, it's kind of different because the attitude with black men and people of color men, oh, they treat it different. Like white men are just like, how dare you? But ooh, when we talking about black men, it gets interesting because they, like, a lot of them just think I am obligated, and that, it just sickens me. It's like last year, I kept hearing all of these men, especially black men, say that we as women are obligated to be nicer to them, and we should need to show them respect, and or tell them why we are not compatible, at least, so that maybe they can, learn more about themselves. But part of me was like, I don't want you changing. I don't want you changing your profile. It's like your political beliefs are your political beliefs. That's not going to, yeah. So, and there are some men who tell me that I should teach them. Like, there was like, well, it's like, if you were my girl, then you could teach me. Like, no, 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 no. One, I'm a woman, and two, I I get paid to teach. And over the years, like, especially on Facebook and some of these apps or whatever, it's annoying and frustrating with how much and how little people know, either like either how much, like, idiotic things they know. Because especially if you agree with Prager, you're an I have nothing nice to say about you. Nothing. But like, do you know how much time it's gonna take for me to teach somebody who is like learning with resources similar to PragerU? Do you know how much time that's gonna take? I only got one life to live, and oh, I'm getting paid. But then also a lot of people who brag about not learning anything about African American history or international, like, studies and things, like my ex-boyfriend did while dating. Like, he bragged that he never had to learn about African American history. He bragged about it. Do you know how annoying and frustrating, like, yeah. It's like he's bragging about this, and I'm like, so you're dating a black woman, but you're bragging that you don't know anything about her history or her ancestors or the struggle and or anything like that. Is that why you didn't defend me when your mother told me that the only reason I got into college is because I'm black, and the only reason I get majority of my job positions is out of pity because like some companies just feel like they have to hire a black person or they're going to look like they're bigots and things like that? Yeah, but you didn't want to defend me, even though you're the one that kept asking me for to borrow money, and you kept promising to pay it back, but you never paid back, like, other than like with the car part, not to get my car fixed after you broke it, but yeah, when you needed a car and you pretty much told me to get in my car and drive to you and drop it off same day, same hour, and things like that. Yeah. Yeah, some of these men out here are crazy. But back to Justin. Back to Justin. It's like the entire time he just kept saying, well, you're a train wreck. Well, you need therapy. Well, you need this and you need that. And I kept telling him, the more you talk, the more you prove that we are not compatible. If I'm a train wreck, why are you talking to me? If I need so much therapy, why are you trying to convince me that I should give you a chance? Like, are you saying all of these things just because you think if you hurt me enough, then I'm going to be a pick me? Are you just trying to hurt me enough to help your ego? Are you trying to give yourself an excuse of, well, she didn't want me because she's crazy. She didn't want me because I'm just whatever, whatever. It's like sometimes I feel like men try, like when they say women are crazy, it's like they are the ones that try to push and push and push and twist. Like they turn the key and like push the button 5 times and like do like pull like the switch and the lever and all of the other things or whatever, trying to aggravate the woman so that they can look like they are the better guy, so that they can look good. But they're being the bully, the troll, the awful, terrible, despicable people, but they want the woman to look bad, which is pretty disgusting and awful and terrible and immature. I mean, but that's all I was thinking while talking to him was how immature and awful he was. All I was thinking. It's pretty sad because like, he just kept trying and trying and trying. And it's like, we are not compatible. How many times do I need to tell you? I keep telling you to go find your perfect match or your queen, your princess, whatever. The thing is, I want them to find that. It's like, and I use like part of me used to think like, why can't we be friends? Why can't men be friends with women? But then the more I try this experiment with trying to see, like when I try to befriend men or like when I try to tell them, yeah, we're not compatible, but we can be friends. To them, no, we can't. There was one guy a couple weeks ago. He was like, I'm not gonna look like you're. I forgot what word he said, but it sounds like a rude word, so I'm not gonna like, yeah, even if I do remember, I'm not gonna say it. But he was like, I'm not gonna hang out with you, and then you're gonna be probably looking at another man, like trying to go out with him while with me. And I'm like, what? I was like, why in the world would you think that? Okay, if we're going out as friends, it's like I'm gonna be talking to you, hanging out with you, but you automatically think I'm going to go out and hang out with you only to try to date other men? And yeah, he said, yeah. He said exactly. But yeah, at the end of the day, this guy or Justin blocked me. I'm thankful, I'm happy because he only proved how despicable, awful, immature, and just deceived. I don't know, like the things he kept saying and doing was just so stupid. But anyways, thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.